Welcome back to the nationally syndicated Price of Business Show. I'm your host, Kevin Price, talking to you about you and your business. I tell you, national security is all of our business, and that's one of the reasons why we always love having General Jeffrey Schloesser on the program, retired general, been a recurring guest for quite some time on the program, both a show favorite and a personal favorite. I love his book, which I'm going to ask him in just a moment to reintroduce to the listener before we get into our topic today. But General Schloesser not only brings great context and information on national defense and foreign policy issues, but also on the ideas of leadership, which is what his book is all about. Jeff, always glad to have you on the program. Let's start with real quick about your book and also mention your website. And welcome back.
Yeah, thanks an awful lot, Kevin. Thanks for having me on the show. Yeah, so the book is Marathon War, Leadership and Combat in Afghanistan, based upon my experiences leading the 101st Airborne Division, as well as 30,000 Marines, sailors, soldiers and airmen and civilians in combat in Afghanistan. You know, it's really not just about war. It's also about leadership in really tough spots and chaos. I think a lot of people would find it appropriate, whatever you're doing, whether it's in business or, large organizations anywhere around the world. My website is JEFFSCHLOESSER, myname.com. On there, you'll see my blog as well. Sometimes I hit on some very interesting topics. So, Kevin, thanks for allowing me to plug the book.
Yeah, always. I think it's really important, and so I'm glad you have that to share. All right, let's talk about the balloon. And, I was kind of remiss a little bit because, wow, they're talking about the amount of airtime they got over the last week is phenomenal. But it is a unique story. And underneath that story are some issues regarding national security and surveillance that, frankly, haven't been covered a lot by the media that you brought up during the break that I think is really important. Why don't you set the stage for us?
Yeah, so, I think everybody's very much aware that there was a large balloon that the Chinese declared was a weather balloon that drifted basically across the United States. It was very clear that it wasn't just drifting. It stayed over our missile sites in Wyoming and Montana for a period of time, just using the air currents. You can do that with these balloons. And then eventually did go across and was shot down right off our shores in our waters, territorial waters, and is being recovered. So the deal here, what's missing, I think, Kevin, and to all of our listeners here is that, we are just hearing now from our, national security organizations that this has happened multiple times, and yet in many cases, neither the Trump administration, the officials there, in many cases the Biden administration, they weren't briefed. And the problem here gets to a technical problem. We don't have the capability in many ways to be able to track these high-altitude balloons. We can track via satellite, we can track missiles, we can track rockets, we can track all kinds of things like that, but these surveillance balloons are a real problem for America.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Talk a little bit about, one thing I do want to cover, because I do want to get into some depth about this issue that you're bringing up. But there's a lot of debate, and it was pretty much along partisan lines over when that balloon should be shot down. Republicans arguing right now, and Democrats arguing, why don't we get it away from, U.S. territory underneath, potential populations underneath. Your thoughts?
Yeah, so it came in over the Aleutian Islands, so that's very clearly United States airspace, and it would have been appropriate then if we wanted to make a declaratory policy is that, hey, we see it, and we're going to take it out. We should have shot it down there where it would not have been, damaged or would not have hurt anybody on the ground, which is really the problem when it's over the United States airspace on the land. We could have done it there. I think what we chose, though, and this is something that's not hitting the press either, is I think for a while, since we did see it, we wanted to listen to what it was doing, try to understand exactly what its capabilities were and what intelligence were the Chinese actually seeking and what were they getting off of it. My guess is hidden in that story, hidden in, the national security apparatus of the United States is we made a decision based upon we wanted to listen to what it was providing back. Was it just collecting and then was going to eventually drop it someplace, or was it actually sending live signals back?
For the rest of the interview, click the links below.